right, excellent afternoon, viewers. When we see Prison Break happen in movies, it seems like a distant reality, but sadly, it's happening right in our faces. The recent jailbreak in Imo State, attests to that. Over 1,800 prisoners escaped in a single day. Today, our attention is on jailbreaks in Nigeria, with emphasis on the way forward. Welcome to Real Talk with Kike, and the show where conversations are real. I remain Kike Atanda-Owo, and this Thursday, I'm excited to be on the show with Omotunde Adebowale, popularly known as Lola. Welcome back from Obodo Oyibo.
I almost thought they were going to have an applause, I missed everybody on the show. I missed all our viewers, but thank you so much for keeping it real with us, even while I wasn't around. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Welcome back. And of course, we have Efo in the building. How you doing? The gray hair. Yes, I'm jealous.
I'll give you some.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's good to see you again, Kike.
Many things.
Was with you on Tuesday. Lolo, it's good to see you again.
Yeah, I'm happy to be
back.
back.
Retreat,
Everybody's treating me special.
All right.
Welcome back home anyway.
Thank you.
Welcome, viewers.
All right, before we go further, it's important for us to, celebrate the latest addition to the brand on Real Talk with Kike, and that is our producer.
Yeah.
Today is our birthday. Yes. Let us use this opportunity to share happy birthday!
We love you.
Welcome to Real Talk with Kike. And of course, the last 2 weeks I've been seeing her pulling her weight and the likes and all of that. And I think that what I've seen the most in the last 2 weeks is the ownership culture. You realize that most people, like they will say, Ogata, walara. I'm sorry, I'm a typical mentality. Forget what you see right here, but and I will say that keep it up. May God bless all that concerns you. Amen. And I pray that this year will bring you so much fulfillment in every areas of your life. Amen. All right, so it is important for us to take a break and listen to our Today in History. We'll be right back.
On this day in history, April 15, in 2014, exactly 7 years ago, an estimate of over 200 girls were abducted from their school after an attack by the Boko Haram militant group in Chibok, Nigeria. The girls were thought to be taken to a hard-to-access remote area of the forest in the country or out of the country. Over 50 of the girls had been able to escape. The Nigerian government tried to hold talks with the group to release the children, but were largely unsuccessful, and experts say it could take years to find and free the girls.
It's so sad listening to the segment on this day in history, and like our producer, chipped in when we went on a break that it started the night before, which was 14th of I think 14th of April, exactly 7 years ago, and I cannot help but to express my disappointment on our government. And the reason why I'm actually channeling my energy to them today is the fact that I believe that it is because it doesn't concern them directly, because I'm trying to understand what their parents or the mother will be going through. And I saw a clip, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, how one of the parents still have hope. I'm not saying don't have hope, but the fact that she washes the child's clothes every day, signifies that as far as she's concerned,
she's going to come back.
My child is going to come back. And watching that, I broke down, and I can only plead with our government to please, I don't know, maybe they want to partner with international bodies, and I'm very sure that the same children cannot even remain the same after 7 years. There's a lot of reorientation, there are a lot of things that they need to go through, because I'm very sure in 7 years, some of them might have even given birth to 3 children.
In fact, they were thinking as children, they are already women now.
Yeah.
And many of them would have even had this Stockholm syndrome. That means their abductor would have become somebody they respect and honor. And they probably have even forgotten so much about home because they were relatively young. Imagine those that were about 13 when they were abducted. 7 years, they're already 20. So it's very sad that our government in 7 years have not been able to get those children back. it's very disheartening.
And there are quite a number of,
I align with Kike's sentiments. It's because it doesn't concern them directly.
Yeah.
That's why. Because mothers are on this table right now. It's easier, bad as it sounds, to know that your child is dead. And you put closure to it than to say your child is missing. And you don't know where that child is in the world. You know, I think it's just a shameful narrative. It is shameful.
All right, before we get into discussion for today, it's important for us to take a message from our sponsors. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Monday, April 5th, 2021 might have been yet another day that passed on quietly, but right here in Owerri, the Imo State capital, a jailbreak happened, and according to report by Sahara reporters, over 1,800 inmates escaped from the Owerri Custodian Center when gunmen used explosive, equipment to attack the facility. And the Nigerian authorities are blaming members of Independent People of Biafra group, IPOB, as they are responsible for the attack, and allegations denied by IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu since the jailbreak happened. And 6 inmates voluntarily returned, while 35 pictures of inmates have been splashed on our Twitter page and all other social handles, and this is regarded as the biggest jailbreak in Nigerian history, as the figure of inmates who escaped has never been this much from previous jailbreaks, so to speak. This incident brings to mind a similar one that happened in 2018, which is 3 years ago, when gunmen attacked a medium security prison at Niger State, and in that same jailbreak, over 200 inmates escaped as well. That year, the Minister of Interior, Abdurrahim Dambozo, noted that one of the lapses was that of the prison personnel on duty were inadequate. So the question is, what are the reasons for the insertion jailbreaks in Nigeria? Are correctional centers truly correctional? What is the way forward in preventing jailbreaks in the country? We will try to find answers to all of these questions today, and just like we've shown earlier, the guest profile, and I cannot wait, of course, is on the platform with us today. Many thanks for joining us. He is the CEO of the Breeze Protection Service Limited. His name is Dickson Osajie. Did I pronounce that well?
Absolutely.
Hey, thank you. There are quite a number of things coming to head when I was doing a bit of research regarding the jailbreak that actually happened on the 5th, and how everything went quiet and nobody's actually talking about it. So my first question to you is that we've had 8 reported jailbreaks all across Nigeria since 2010, and a not so good figure from in-town, so to speak. Prison breaks don't get successful except when help of an internal person, So what is your take on this, considering the fact that our prison system are presently weak, and we cannot deny that?
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. Nice being here.
You're welcome.
You actually pronounce my name very well.
Thank you. I mother people's names. I always ask them to pardon me.
better.
All right.
Wow, that's good. The prison break is a worrisome situation, and we've seen that, like from the analysis you gave, the security metrics, given the history of prison breaks in Nigeria, we've observed that we stay in a country, in a state whereby we don't learn from our previous mistake. Okay. And if an incident transpired, for example, in Imo State now, I'd expected the next state, either maybe Abia State or Edo State, to carry out a mitigation mechanism, to put in preventive mechanism, so that incident that transpired in Imo State will not transpire here. But for me, I believe that the prison break in Imo State, some people need to be held accountable. Okay. These are the correctional facilities. And the correctional facilities that houses criminal should not be that easy for criminal elements to break in that easy. Because one of the deterrent mechanisms to criminal elements is that they don't like delay. The reason why they don't like delay is that they come, they use time and momentum, they act and they go. But for here, you see these criminal guys, they break into the prison so swiftly and succeeded. I will align that to a physical protection mechanism, because we just have maybe defense, the barriers, and that's all. You know, sometimes in 2009, I want to believe that some of you watched Prison Break.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
You know how long it took those guys
to plan.
to plan?
So this is Masterminded.
Oh, sure, sure. Do you know how long it took them to
Yes.
plan? The reason why it took them that long was because of those delay mechanism. If you don't have delay mechanism in the prison, that tells you that the leadership of the prison are compromising with the security of the state, because those guys that flee from the prison yard, I think they're going to be a threat to the society. And if they be a threat to society, I think we're really going to watch out.
You know, I have been to the prison many times to do maybe philanthropy and see people there, but I have never really seen any physical. You would not say that there are security apparatives in the prison. And you're wondering, I see the prisoners, there is really nothing that you can say they're putting like checks and balances for people to be able to have some kind of security. So why won't there be jailbreaks if our prisons are still the same way they have been for years? No improvement whatsoever.
I think that's a lack of accountability, because here in Nigeria, we're not holding people account. If we hold people account while they're in office, I think we will not suffer such kind of menace. But in Nigeria, it's a place whereby you come and serve and you go. Nobody brings you back to home account.
Exactly.
Your time in office. Because if we have people being held accountable, I think such kind of incident will not transpire. Like you rightly said.
Yeah, I'm wondering that because there is a budget every year that they allocate for the prisons.
Sure.
But I have not seen any buildings newly built. The prison is congested.
Yeah.
So what would you say the ministry in charge of the prisons, what would you say they are doing with the disbursement?
I think that is lack of effective compliance and monitoring mechanism, because most people are very quick to blame the government. Sometimes we need to appropriate blames to where the blames belong. From the government, we have a strategic center of gravity. That is from the government point of view. Then we have the operational level and we have the tactical level. When government releases funds, let me say, for example, the government appropriated 200 billion naira to the Nigerian Prison Service. This money dropped down from the COG, center of gravity, to the operational level, from the operational level to the tactical level. And now from the operational level, we see guys, leaders who feel that they can, embezzle Nigerians' funds that are meant for national development. Some people will think that they have the powers to, embezzle that funds and put the rest of society at risk and put us in a threat forms. So I think we need to hold people into account and ensure that anyone who feel or think that he can just divert funds that are meant for national development must be dealt with, because here we don't have punishment mechanisms where people commit crime and when they go back to the court, they will just go and start shooting some home video. They leave home alive, get to court and pretend they are dead, and the court has become a deceptive ground, because from the administration of criminal justice system, we have the police, the court, and the prison. And if the court is effective enough, I tell you, criminality will be mitigated.
Well said.
In my own case, when it comes to the jailbreak in Imo State, I remember listening to the news at the time that the state governor actually said he had intelligence, that he knows that his top politicians that were behind everything that happened. So question is, if you know who, why don't you name them?
Why you not naming?
Name and shame them.
You see, when we talk about investigation, it's very sensitive. It amazes me when the governor came on board and after the incident and announced that he's aware of people that
you had that too.
Carry out these stuff. And I begin to wonder, has it become the IPO of Imo State or the newly investigation police officer? Because we are quick to come on air to just say something, and the enemy line, when the enemy picks this information, because anything that goes out in the media is classified as open source information. And criminal elements source their information from the media, source their information from radio and print. So the governor should have relaxed, allow the police to carry out investigation, and when they carry out the investigation, there are stages in reporting. We have the initial stage, we have the progress stage, we have the special report stage, and we have the final stage. Now the final stage is when you have gathered all the information and you are able to ascertain the root cause analysis and the people that committed that crime, then you can give the police for proper prosecution. But for here, there's no investigation, there's no arrest. He just came on board and says XYZ,
In
we are
fact,
responsible.
almost the next day, that's
not
what
good,
he
because
came out to
he
say.
has concluded the report.
Yes.
That's conclusion.
All right, you're nailing the points with all the questions we're asking you. But right now, the movement of arms and ammunition is fast becoming an alarming trend in this country, Nigeria.
Sure, yeah.
And non-security operative use all this explosive, and even the terrorists and bandits groups also use all these sophisticated weapons. So my question now is, how should the government be dealing with our gun laws and fighting against all this smuggling and the likes and all of that? Because at the end of the day, when you look at the Boko Haram and co, where are they getting all these weapons from?
By default, Nigeria is a country under threat. When you look at our geographical design, from Cameroon, we are bordered by Cameroon, we are bordered by Niger Republic, we are bordered by Chad Republic, we are bordered by Benin Republic, and we are also bordered from the coast of Guinea. These countries are all Francophone-speaking countries, and that by default tells you that we are under threat. Now, when you go back to the Sahel region, the Sahel region comprises of 5 countries, and that is where you see most of the threats coming from. The Libyans, after the death of the Libyan president, you could see that some of them started, moving from Libya to other African countries. Now, one of the identification here is that we need to look into our border security. A borderless nation is a no nation. Just like when you get home now and you open your windows, you open your doors at night and you expect mosquito not to get into your room, that's not the story. Definitely they will come in. So when we look into border protection, the Nigerian Immigration Service, they are solely responsible for the protection of our national borders. That is the Border Management Agency. And when we have an effective border management mechanism in place, we'll be able to mitigate the flow of irregular migrants, because we have the regular migrant and the irregular migrants. Those irregular migrants are those guys that doesn't have the papers to come into Nigeria. And some of them, they've seen the vulnerabilities of our security agents. And I also understand that there are some agents that are compromising with the state of Nigeria. So we must look into border management very effectively. Like last year, I proposed to the presidency on Channels TV that they must, declare a state of emergency on our national borders. There is one time Nigerian armed robber, let me say Nigerian celebrity armed robber, he said the reason why he succeeded in his armed robbery days was the pursuit of our national borders. And I tend to agree with him, because when it comes to Lagos, he strikes, it goes to Benin Republic and relax. And I also remember when I was in the military in 1999, when I was in the front line at Bakassi Peninsula, we observed that some guys, instead of them to come through the normal checking routes, they will go and pass some other nooks and crannies that we are not able to, see them. So we have about 1,300 illegal routes here in Nigerian border space. So we need to project surveillance, technological mechanisms, so that we'll be able to carry out surveillance and make the criminal elements understand that they are under watch 24/7. Because criminals don't like being watched. When we project, a deterrence mechanism, really we're going to live in a free society.
Wow, very intelligent questioning. Thank you. In 2013, I know that some countries, they have actually, teetered, or they've tried to look into private prisons. What do you think the government can welcome? Do you think such a phenomenon can work in Nigeria, where we have a private partnership with private companies to set up prisons?
Well, you see, most of us think that prison or the correctional facility is meant for punishment, Punishment is not for revenge, Punishment is to reintegrate, rehabilitate, and reform the criminal. If we have an effective correctional facilities, crime will be mitigated, because most guys, when they pass through the police, the court, and get to the prison, they become more hardened of criminal. Some of them don't come out being reformed or being rehabilitated because of the environment or because of the vicinity, the way they eat. And 2 days ago, I was playing a video, the most beautiful prison in the world. I think it's in Norway. When I saw the premises and I compared it to my apartment, I just feel like going to jail in Norway. So I think we should make our prison very, very desirable, because we cannot, think we want to correct the criminal and we take them.
What I'm even saying is that, do you think that Nigeria is ripe enough to have a private partnership with the government? Because it seems the government have been running it for a long time.
We are ripe enough for everything.
And now we need private partnership to get into this government prison service and see if that kind of partnership can work. At least we're selling a lot of our parastatals. So why can't we sell, give a little chance to private partnership in prisons.
That's an intelligent question. I think it's a good proposal. It's a good proposal.
Okay, my worry here is everything is bordered on corruption.
Corruption.
It's all corruption. You talked about the hierarchy in the prisons, you know. You're talking about, in the first place, we call them, previously we used to call them prisons. Now we hear they're correctional centers. First, are they truly correctional centers? I know you've spoken about that, but break it down. Are they truly correctional centers?
Yeah,
because you're an expert. You've been there, in and out. I haven't been to
I've
the
not been to
prisons.
prison.
No. What I mean is, at least you have paid a visa.
Oh, sure.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Are they truly correctional centers?
They're not correctional centers. If you observe, like you made mention that you've been to the prison 1 or 2 times, if you observe that some private organizations, some private industries, you know, usually do the best. You know, they always go to the prison yard and you know, try to give their support and all those things. Because if you allow the prison service to run the state of the prison, everybody will die in that prison because their feeding is very poor, the health is very poor. If you go to some prison, you can't find mattress. You can't even find pillow. There's nothing. Some of them sleep on the floor. The hygienic is another problem there in the prison. So I will also advise and push for your proposal. That proposal is going to be a very big one.
It's a nice proposal, but even the countries that are practicing it is still, you know, very problematic because, you know, when we're saying private partnership, that means there's money is going to be passing from one place to the other to run it. So Nigeria is dealing with corruption as an as a hydra. Do you think if we do that, we're not going to be hemorrhaging money through that again?
So what are we going to do about the corruption in the prisons?
All right, before you answer that, let's quickly go on a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you just tuned in, this is the program Real Talk with Kike, and together with my co-host, we've been talking about jailbreaks with our guest Dickson Osajie. You can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number showing on our screen right now. The number to call is 080-988-77400. Don't forget to also make comments on our social media platform at RealTalkWithKike on Twitter page, and of course you can also send us a message on our Instagram page and Facebook with Real Talk with Kike. And we are also streaming live on YouTube, so you can subscribe to our YouTube page and it's all yours. So, you know, with everything we've been talking about thus far, I cannot help but, you know, I'm curious as a sensitive, because I know this is a sensitive issue, and as a security expert that you are, you know, this must, you know, I don't know how to put it, you know, it compromises all the things that we've been talking about all along, especially when it comes to deadly criminals and other threatening elements, you know, that is going on across Nigeria presently. And so what are the implications for our society as at now, considering the length and breadth of insecurity in our country, and we are all pointing fingers at the government? What can we do individually as a person?
We need a societal attitudinal change. It's all about character. It's all about courtesy, you know. Sometimes the way you relate to me, the way I relate to you, the way you relate to your neighbor, the way I relate to my neighbor really matters. We are always quick to blame the government, but we fail to understand that we need to work on our own selves as well. Because there are some people that blame the government 20 years ago, and they're in power today, and they're diverting funds that are meant for national development. And that is why I kept on stressing about punishment. Punishment is very essential, and that is why we need to look very effectively into the administration of criminal justice system. You know, the police is the first point of contact. The court is the second point of contact. The correctional facility is the third point of contact. Whenever that's why, you know, the spate of extrajudicial killing, took the boom in Nigeria. People think that maybe the fault is from the police. No, we need to also blame the court. Today, when you take some matter to the court, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, some matters spend 30 years in court, some 20 years, some 10 years in court, and people say justice delayed is justice denied. But I think justice delayed is a weakness on our judicial system. So we'll be talking about police brutality. We need to look into judicial brutality. We need to look into a correctional facility brutality. We need to look into nepotism brutality. We need to also look into ethnocentric brutality. We need to look into religious brutality as well, because we need tolerance in our religion. You know, there are times, you know, Christian, Muslim, we are not even living in peace, and we say that we are living as one. I think it's a scam. We're not living as one. All right,
many thanks for all of that. We have a caller on the line. That's Michael from Lagos. Michael, excellent afternoon. What's your contribution on the show today?
Good afternoon, ma. This is Michael.
Yeah, go ahead, we can hear you.
Yes, I overheard people discussing the issue of jailbreak in Nigeria prison.
Correct.
Yes. So I really want to contribute.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Michael. We can hear you.
I think he's
All
still
right, we
trying
lost
to
that.
put his thoughts together.
Yeah.
You know, every time I look at the Nigerian system, I'm always wondering that we can see our counterparts in the world. Is it that we don't learn at all? Because I have a problem with proper documentation of inmates. I'm a lawyer by training. Do you know how many people are in prisons that when you ask them for their case files, you can't find some of them? And you're wondering, and some of them will now tell you that if they see an opportunity to escape from jail, somebody that was wrongfully accused and wrongfully detained, and he sees an opportunity to escape, he knows that he's not going to get justice. He's here detained, no papers, no nothing to even prove that he has done what they said he's done. So when are we ever going to live to, you know, to that height that we see other countries?
That falls on accountability, because accountability is both horizontal and vertical.
Yes.
Because if you are, you know, the head of the prison service and you are not giving reports, you are not being held accountable, or you are not held accountable for some operational error, it's going to continue. The Nigerian prison has been neglected for so long because they just feel that, well, this is a prison service, they're receiving assistance from NGOs and other organizations, and they felt that they can divert the money. I would advise the presidency to declare a state of emergency on our correctional facility.
All right, many thanks again for that. We have Yusuf from Abuja. Hello, Yusuf. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. You see, what we are talking about, even insurgents, whatever prison that they are talking about, my sister, all lie on corruption. If the corruption we are facing in this country is going higher, and if they do not come back and shape it well, this country is going to backfire. We are talking of prison, not only prison, it's in everywhere, just like that Dickson or whatever name is saying. Corruption is everywhere and it's deeply going. And the common man is suffering for it. So what they are to do is to calm down and know how to solve this corruption, so that a common man will not suffer. Because what the heart I have is not the same heart you have in this country. Some people have a desperate heart. If there can no way, there will be way for them. So let the corruption calm down. That is not Nigeria about 20 years ago. It will kill us. So let them bring out from corruption. That is the only solution in this country. That is the only solution in any sector. Corruption. Let them come down. That's
all right, many thanks, Yusuf, from your submission.
I totally agree with I agree with him. Remember, there was a question I put to you first.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do about the corruption in the prison system?
First of all, we need to tell our leaders that they are not going to live till eternity. Because I felt someone lied to them that they will live till eternity. Because I see no reason why you are creating some funds that you cannot spend in the next 200 years, in the next 2,000 years. Some people have this fund they cannot spend in the next 150,000 years. That is greed. Corruption has been eating us so hard, very hard in all ramifications, in every institution. It has been eating us so hard. And that's why I rightly say that we must not always blame the government, because I told you earlier on that from the strategic level to the operational level to the tactical level, some government are releasing these funds, go to our budgets. But some people just felt they can consume this money, they, themselves, their family, and their relation, then put the society at risk. People like that are supposed to be sentenced to prison. They're supposed to even pay, maximum punishment must be given to these guys. And that's why I earlier told you about our judicial system. You're a lawyer, you understand what I'm trying to say. So, for me, if we hold our leaders accountable, both from the reporting line, vertical and horizontal, corruption will be mitigated. And there are people who feel that they can divert Nigerian funds and they are feeling very well, and when the time for punishment comes, they start shooting film. I saw a video going viral. A man who was leaving the EFCC office, very, very healthy, on getting to the court, he now activated a sick mode.
Oh, that's the latest.
I was ashamed. This man does really have families. Where is the pride? Most of us, we are taking a departure from our norms and our values. If we don't take a departure from our norms and our values, we will respect the Nigerian state. We will respect our children, our generation. But I think that if you divert the funds that are meant for national development, you are an enemy of the state.
All right, many thanks again, Dickson.
Thank you.
I said, we have another caller from Surulere right now. Stopover, can you please go ahead with your contribution?
I want to talk about correction. Correction is too much in Nigeria.
Okay.
Carol?
All right, apologies.
Yes, I'm talking about corruption. Corruption is too much for Nigeria.
Okay.
If government can do work for the correction, everything be good. Imagine our prison. Look at how they're putting people. Is it good? We are not a human being. Why they're treating people like that? Please, I'm talking about corruption. If the corruption stop for Nigeria, everything be better.
All right. Many thanks for your contribution on the show today. It is really edifying to have your expert on the show today, but it's important for us to quickly get the message from our sponsors. We'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with us. You know, the conversation thus far has been enlightening, and if you just tuned in, our guest is the security expert, and he's been talking about the jailbreaks in Nigeria and the way forward out of the current situation. And the show is still Real Talk with Kike, and the phone numbers is still open. Please call us on the number that's showing on your screen. The number is 080-988-77 400. You know, many thanks, you know, for spending your lunchtime with us today. You know, there's a question I'm curious to ask, because I know Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, that's the NSDC, you know, were in full action to make the prison break attempts in Lagos, you know, fail, so to speak. In terms of solution to this jailbreak, should the government reinforce, you know, the NSDC, or more attention should be paid on intelligence reports? Because you've been talking about accountability in the last few minutes, and the question is, what about intelligence reports? Who is actually looking into that to look for how we can meet to you know, kind of, you know, find a balance, basically.
Leveraging on intelligence, it contributes to national development. And when we talk about intelligence, we're talking about something new, you know. For example, if I come and say, hey, Kike, somebody is trying to, you know, open your car, unlock your car, I'm giving you something new and information that you're not aware about. So intelligence is something new. And when we talk about intelligence, there are various mechanisms. We have the human intelligence. What I had expected that this prison service to also do, and our security agent, is to, you know, invest in human intelligence. You understand? Human intelligence is projecting maybe you and I, maybe in the enemy line, you know, to gather information for us. Because the enemy line, they source their information through open source intelligence and also human intelligence. And that is why Boko Haram and other insurgents, they projected some of their fighters into our security agents, getting information for them. Are you with me? So for me, we need to look into human intelligence. We also need to look into signal intelligence. Because, you know, of recent we hear about NIN, this name number also. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think they are looking at signal intelligence. Signal intelligence is breaking into the network of the enemy. That's classified as dark network. The network of the enemy, Boko Haram, insurgent, terrorist communicators, classified as dark network. So when we look into signal intelligence, we'll be able to break into their communication intelligence. That is commit. When we break into their communication intelligence, we'll be able to get information in advance, because security is not responding to incidents after it has occurred. Security is prevention mechanism.
All right, many thanks for that. I understand that we have Benjamin from Jos, and Benjamin is our regular caller. Benjamin, many thanks for calling on today's show again. I'm very well, thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay, we believe that there is corruption in this country. My own suggestion is that the word corruption, what we can cure in this country, or what we can reduce it in this country, is by having our constitution as a subject from primary school, like a religion study. Let it be taught as a subject from primary level to the university as a subject. Our constitution. If you see, you will be killed. If you are doing something like that, I think if you see this thing, you will go to jail for so years. So our children, we have fair. Again, the way the teach religious study, let the constitution be as a subject in country from the primary school to the university level. Thank you very much.
Very interesting. I'm still wondering that who does our trainings? You run the security outfit. Is there no way that the government can involve the private sector in training, reorientating the officers? Because I've seen, you know, when you go abroad, you see that even these people that are serving in the prison, they go through psychological tests from time to time. Yes. They even investigate them even to their homes. Who is searching who is coming to work? Let's even say that maybe they are following the old school pattern. We have new security outfits like yours and many others. Can they partner with the government to teach them the new ways where they can fortify some of these the people that work in these prisons, so that this kind of jailbreaks will become a thing of the past? That's
a very intelligent question. Like when I joined the army in the 90s, and I voluntarily disengaged from the Nigerian army 19 years ago after we handed over the Bakassi Peninsula, and I opted for US Marine. And I observed that when I went into private security, most of the things I learned in private security, I didn't learn them in the military. Yes. And that tells you that the private security, when integrated with our security agents, they're going to do a lot. I did a lot of certifications in the UK and in the US, and we have a lot of intelligent people owning private security company in Nigeria. So like you rightly said, I would advise the federal government to look into integrating with private security organizations so that you're able to project some training and security curriculum to the security agent, because not every of those security training are given in the police academy or the military academy. So private security is doing a lot in Nigeria. If you look into our GDP, we are contributing a lot too. If you go to all the banks in Nigeria, you see a lot of private security organizations there. You understand? So the police needs to give way to go and tackle the threat and allow the private security. Even we've been pushing for arms and ammunition so that we can train some guys and give them arms to protect some assets.
Thank you so much, Dickson Osajie, for we're glad to have you on the show today, but it's been very enlightening, and I'm very sure that with a lot of things that you've shared with us today, I hope that the government are listening and they are ready to take action with everything that is happening in our country, especially when it comes to security and intelligence. So to say, many thanks again for joining us on lunchtime today. But before we let you go, it's important for us to, there's something I want us to actually come together to discuss, which is what affects us all, and that is our trending stories. And one of the trending stories that caught our attention a few days ago is a new report that shows that 10 former governors are linked to properties in the UK. And the question is, why do our leaders, fancy buying properties abroad and, starting up funds abroad? And this is something that really disturbs me, because at the end of the day, we keep clamoring for accountability, just like we've been speaking about earlier. We're talking about intelligence, and you're talking about quite a number of, character checks in us. Many times you see all these governors, they come out during campaign to say that, oh, they're going to do better. There's something you highlighted when you were talking earlier regarding some of them hoping that they're going to live forever, or even some of them even coming, the people who left the power for them, you keep criticizing them, but when you get there, you don't even do anything better. You don't do any better, and looking at this, I cannot help but tailor this back to UK. There's this what's it called, Charles Dickson, that wrote the book Oliver Twist. The government looked inward and decided that, what is the takeaway from this book, Oliver Twist? And they decided to review that book to look for how to better their economy. Most times you see our governments going abroad to go and better their develop other people's countries, and we've been tagged as the Nigerians and Afghanistan have been tagged as the most corrupt country in the world. And I wonder, why would they tag Nigerians? Because we are very hardworking people. But the question is, our government, I'm sorry to say this, our government have constantly given us a bad name. They've constantly put us on the map where we are talking about bandits. Who caused it? The government. And at the end of the day, I'm asking myself, why would they say that our governments are going abroad to buy properties? Again, I'm sorry to say this. I know UAE doesn't have all this. They don't have issues with corruption checks and the likes and all of that. So you see quite a number of government going there to buy properties and the likes and all of that. I can keep going on and on, but I just want to say that what they call a snitch in time saves nine. Saves, and if we do not return and retrace our steps, you know, our children, our great-grandchildren can never have a better place to live in. And we keep thinking about taking our children to go and live abroad. We are thinking about our children not even wanting to even return to our country, and it all starts from here. Dickson, what's your take on this?
I believe, Kike, I understand your passion for Nigeria, and you'll be doing so well for this great nation. You know, sometimes when we talk about countering terrorism, we have the kinetic and non-kinetic approach. What you guys are doing in the studio here is non-kinetic approach, and I believe that your reward is very soon, you understand? So, Kike, you know, I will align your emotions or your pain about our leaders to wickedness. This is wickedness. We are about having a rebirth of Nigeria during the EndSARS, but at the end of the day, some state terrorists went to go and shoot our people. I was in Lekki Tollgate every night to observe what was happening there. These children, they were trying to give Nigeria a new name. And government blew off that opportunity. That was a great opportunity for government to come to the drawing board and say, hey, let's stop all these things. Because you are going to other countries to go and enjoy their good governance. Exactly. You are here giving us bad governance. Exactly. You are taking our funds to abroad to go and develop this country. Most of these developed countries.
They said they should declare their assets. Is that not part of accountability? How come some of these properties are missing? So when they do this declaration, who is cross-checking?
So what you are saying is that money laundering is not taken seriously in this country. Who is following up when it comes to this? And all this, you know, all this information put out there, you know, we can say 10 governors, 13 governors have properties abroad. I believe that for you to have put that information out there, because abroad, before you can buy any property, there's a lot of documentation that goes in there. Can they please put the names of these governors or this, you know, out there for us to at least know exactly who we are channeling our energy into?
During the EndSARS, you know, the CBN were very quick to produce the names of sponsors of the EndSARS.
Exactly.
And
block people's accounts.
Now, when we talk about risk priority, you prioritize your risk and ascertain which of these risks is detrimental to the survival of the state. The EndSARS is not the greatest threat we have in Nigeria. Terrorism is the greatest threat. Who are the sponsors? Corruption is the greatest threat. These guys that are moving our money from the offshore of Nigeria to the international community, are you telling me that the CBN cannot also set in a sting operation or a buy-bust operation to get these guys? There's compromise somewhere. And that's why the banking sector has a role to play, because before you move in money, you have to place the money, and then it goes through layering and integration. So during layering of those funds and integration of the funds, the CBN needs to let us know. All right, many thanks. We have to take a wrap on that story. There's another trending story that caught our attention. This is an ongoing debate over the retirement of the Supreme Court Justice of Nigeria. It is currently at he is currently at 70, and there was a move earlier that says this year that 75 years is the number of years that they can actually stay. So as a March this year, the Senate was putting in place measures to push for the retirement age of judges to be 70. Now, renowned lawyer Chief Afe Babalola is saying it should be 100 years, and we have different reactions on our social medias. And you know, let's take a look at all of this from different angles. I want some people to go against some for this. If you ask me, right, I really do not have issues that this men should still be in court, so to speak, as long as their sticks haven't failed them. That's my own argument, because you know, let's take it back to international bodies that we are always trying to copy, because internationally you can still be on seats till 80, 90, till death do you part. So I really don't have issues with that. But the question, because I believe that with their head, it comes with some level of experience. It comes with some level of contentment in their spirit. And in a place where we are talking about corruption, in a place where we see our young, what's it called, citizens, our youths of today, you know, where they do not, I'm sorry to say, the lack of character, they have, you know, no contentment in their spirit, so to speak. I believe probably because they've not given some of them an opportunity, but we've seen thus far that those people who even criticize the people that are in power, when they get there, they don't even do better. So it's the power of character now that we all need to look into. So should it be there till when it's 100? I have no issues with it. I don't know what Lolo has to say.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, as long as it's not sent out, Because when it comes to judging, years of experience, all our books, all the precedents that every lawyer follows, it's from the Supreme Court justices, all their judgment. Those are the things that we follow. As far as their senses haven't failed them, I don't really think, except he wants to retire, maybe there should be a caveat that says maybe 75 or 80, you can retire, but you have an option not to if you don't want to.
Well, as long as their health is not failing them, but taking a particular figure to say 100,
I think 100 is a lot.
Perhaps God has increased the age of man.
You know, our times are in God's hands, so no man can say, I'm going to live for this long, you know. He can say, maybe you add another 5-10 years, or even if they've gone into retirement, you know, they can always come back for unique cases, you know, for their experience and for wisdom to guide them. That's what I think he should be saying.
Well, my position is that the judiciary represent righteousness. Yes. That is what the judiciary is all about, righteousness. And we are talking about leadership in the judiciary. We need to look into physiological mechanism. We need to look into physical mechanism and also psychological mechanism. You know, there are some stages you get in life. Physiologically, you'll be, dissipated. Psychologically, you'll be dissipated. So, and Nigeria is a country where we have a lot of cases pumping into the courts. So we must look at age limit. Why? Because of, effectiveness and the reasonability. Because if we don't look at that, an old man might, some people are saying 1 or 2 leaders have lost their memory because of age. So we must look into age. The reason why is that because of their physiological well-being, psychological well-being, and physical well-being, and mental well-being as well. I would advise 70 years. Okay.
All right. Many thanks, Dickson, for your submission. I want to use this opportunity to say well done for your contribution to the society at large, and you are contributing your quota to peacemaking. And of course, I pray that all that you've shared today will be put to use. All right. This is where we say goodbyes. You know, I really don't like goodbye, but we've come to the end of another edition of Real Talk with Kike. So my co-host, F1 Lolo. I don't know. I think I have to emphasize more on her name. I like that name, Omotunde Adebowale. It's been fun today on the show, and my name remains Kike Atanda-Owo and
Omotunde Adebowale David
and Efo.
All right, this is where we say bye.